Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, Anita Finley.
So calling in from California, we have the expert, Sue Crum, who is going to help us, especially me, get more organized and get rid of the clutter and have my life happy again, because it really does disturb me.
Absolutely.
How did you ever get into this, by the way? Were you a clutterer when you were a little girl?
Yes, I was not one of those organized little girls that had all her Mary Janes all lined up in the closet. I was not that. I was always the youngest in my class, so I was way behind everybody else. Could never figure out how they knew where their pencils were and where their papers were. So along the way, I had to start to figure out some systems that were going to work for me, because I went off to college at 17, lived away from home, and everybody else seemed to, have the gene that told them what to do, when to do it, where it was, and I didn't have that at all. And I thought, if I'm going to ever make it here, I've got to put in place some systems that were going to work for me. And along the way, in the most recent years, I've been an interior redesigner and working with people in their homes about making the environments better and then staging homes to sell. And then I realized, they say in real estate, location, location, location. But if the house is full of clutter, nobody can even get past that to look at the zip code because there's too much stuff. And I recognized that if I could help people either pack up their things as they were moving and putting their house up for sale, or help them get organized in the new house they moved into or in the house they've been living in forever, I could reduce their stress and give them back their calm and happiness. And I found it to be extremely rewarding.
I love the word interior redesigning. Is that your word you used?
It is. It's not. It's kind of using what people have. The words interior redesign have been around for a while. For a while, there were television shows called one-day room makeovers, and that's when it really kind of took off. And it's using what people have, but kind of repurposing it and with fresh eyes. So I would go into a person's home or office environment and say, well, let's try this lamp over in that room and that chair over there. And they would go, oh, my gosh, for 25 years I've never done that. How did you come up with that idea?
Right.
And I just kind of see things from more of a gestalt for a client, and I can do that even by Skype when people send me their pictures or their video of their space and how it can be better improved for their productivity and their more peaceful living.
Well, one thing that's happened, and I'm sure people complain, when we heard that we were going to have the computer and it's going to be a paperless society, I have to argue. It is not. It is more of a paper society.
It is. You are absolutely right. It kind of depends on the individual, but they started talking paperless society back in the 1970s. And here we are, plowing our way through the 21st century, and people have more paper than ever because we've all become Staples store annex and Office Depot annexes out of our homes. And so we've all got the computer and the printer and the cartridges and the toners. And our reams of paper, we're buying them by the box load. So we're all running these little mini offices and doing that from our home. And then when we get a new computer or we get an update on a computer, we're not really confident yet. And so we're hitting print, because we're not 100% confident. And then it becomes, I love the expression that Dorothy said, there's no place like home. And it applies to so much of our environment, because if those papers don't find the right home, then they're just in a pile and we can't access them.
Oh, that's it.
And
that's
so
what I have. And so what I did...
It's
right.
the home. It's missing the home.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what we have to do, is to start to assign homes to things. And if they don't have a home, then any horizontal space or the floor will do.
That's it.
Because it doesn't have a home.
That's
that
so well said. Oh, that's so well said. I love when you're on this show. So tell me, if I went to your office, what would it be like?
Well, it's not a very big office. It's a small office that it has built-ins, and so I'm blessed to have that. In that there's file drawers that are laterals that come out, and so I'm able to use that space for my files to keep them, kind of away. So one of the chapters in my book is talking about having a cockpit. Let's see what's the title of the chapter, but it's basically getting at the concept of my favorite king of focus, who is Sully Sullenberger, and I talk about, and now his movie's out, so I talk about what is it that made him so successful. Well, he wasn't wandering around the plane looking for maps of New Jersey. He had to make a decision in less than 2 minutes of where to land that plane. So he had everything that he needed right in front of him. And he was able to make that decision and have what he needed right close at hand. So I say to folks, kind of look at your office space as a cockpit. It doesn't have to be big. Some people think, well, I've got to move to a bigger house. Or I often hear people say, I need more file cabinets. And I say, well, that's not the solution per se. It's looking at the space as a cockpit. So in my cockpit, I have my computer and my printer and things like that, but I'm able, because of the built-ins, to have things behind closed doors. And then you bring out, what it is you want to work on. And people think, wow, I've got these 17 projects. I've got to keep them all close by so I can be working on them. But we can't work on 17 projects at once. We can't work on 2 projects really at once. It's that whole multitasking dilemma that everybody's gotten into. But if you know you've got a projects list, and then you've assigned a home for those 16 other projects to be, then pull out what you're going to work on, and then have everything else get scheduled into your calendar.
It's interesting. I'm listening to you speaking, and I do half of what you said, but the other half is interesting. Even, do you know that in order to keep things off the floor and to keep it organized, and I know you'll probably say this, if you don't have a clear desk when you start, then your mind is all jumbled. So I try to clear my desk, and then if I don't have time, I put it in a big bag. And then the bag gets bigger, and then it gets bigger, then I put it in the closet. Sometimes I have a bag in there I haven't even looked at for at least months. And my husband said, if you haven't looked at it much, you don't need it. Throw it out. I can't throw it out. But I don't like to look at the clutter. But yet I do need those items, and I don't have time to organize it.
Well, that's the thing. See, I think what happens is all of us confuse decluttering with organizing, and they're really 2 different activities. So that's the problem. I think people think, well, I'm going to, get it all organized today, but then they spend the day clearing it. So they're really separate activities. You can't think people think, well, I'm going to, get it all organized today, but then they spend the day clearing it. So they're really 2 separate activities. You have to kind of clear the clutter first, and then schedule the time that you're going to go into bag number 1 or bag number 2 or whatever's
right.
in the closet. Right. And then say, okay, then in my book I talk about my RAPS program and what to do with paper, because we're all drowning in it. So
right.
when you're drowning, you need RAPS.
Right.
And it talks about how to then set up those the papers, how to really process them, because it's a 2-step process. You're clearing the clutter, but then you have to process the paper.
Right.
And it's a different skill set really than organizing. The organizing is a different skill set than the clearing, because you can just come in with a bulldozer and clear
right.
the space.
Right.
But then it's that other step that has to be organized, so that you get rid of the fluff or the stuff you don't really need. What I say, the old penny savers that come in the mail that nobody,
right.
That people save because they're going to read them in their free time, and nobody has free time anymore.
Right.
So it really it becomes a calendar thing, and you have to take control of your calendar and your time. and I think so many people have been very busy giving away their time, and then they say, oh, I've just been so busy.
Yep.
It's the award of the century. They're wearing their busy bee letter on their forehead. I'm just a busy bee.
That's right.
But they've lost the productivity piece.
Yep.
So being busy isn't that great of a skill. It's, what are you busy about?
Well, you are certainly
it's helping people get to that.
So
that productivity part.
I want people to buy your book, of course, and the book is called Clear Your Clutter, right?
Yes, 50 Ways to Organize Your Life, Home, or Business, so you can become more calm, focused, and happy. And it is on Amazon.
Yes, it is. And Sue is so smart. The book is so good. I remember we featured her a few years ago. It is excellent, and you could trust her. Now, I just don't want to get too personal, but in a sense, my kitchen is so perfect. I have nothing around. It's all in the cabinets. Oh, no, I've always been like that. It almost looks like an art museum, and I take out the opener when I need the can opener to put it back. I am perfect in my kitchen, and even pretty good in my closet. See, I'm good. It's funny. I'm good everywhere but in my office. What do you think that is?
I think you maybe haven't given yourself an appointment with you.
Oh.
Enough. So, before you leave the office, 35 minutes before you're going to go to dinner or go somewhere and leave the office, just schedule a needed time, and that be your time to put things away, just like in the kitchen. Because when you walk into your kitchen in the morning, it's not covered with dishes.
Nothing.
The sink isn't filled with pots
Nothing.
and pans.
Right.
So it's taking that time and scheduling it on your calendar, not making the last 4 phone calls, not sending the last 6 emails, but just giving it a needed time.
Okay.
And saying, I'm going to put things back, and then projecting to tomorrow. So you get your reticular activating system looking ahead to tomorrow. What am I going to work on tomorrow? And putting that front and center. So when you walk in to your office tomorrow, you're ready to go with that first, big bullet of the day.
That's excellent. Thank you. I'm going to do that. But so let's say other people, of course, are listening, and they say, I have to talk to Sue. So how can people get connected with you and that you can help them, I guess, either Skype or on phone?
Right.
How do they do that?
Absolutely. I work with clients virtually, and I help them by phone, and we can also do Skype pictures as well. And I would like to offer your listeners a free success strategy call. So if they just went to my website, clearyourcluttercoach.com, and signed up for an opportunity to work with me on a free success strategy call, I would be more than happy to help them with their particular situation. And I have a free ebook that they can get, Simple Strategies for Clutter Clearing You Can Do Now. And
okay, wait a second. I'm writing this down.
Of the homepage.
Wait, hold on. Simple Strategies.
Simple Strategies.
Yep.
For clutter clearing you can do now. So that's a free ebook to help people get started. Because really the first step is deciding. Mm-hmm. And I think I hear in your voice, you're deciding to put this strategy in place about the 35 minutes before you leave the office.
Anita time. That's my Anita time. I'm going to do that.
The Anita time, exactly. And for other people, they've got to decide that up until now maybe that's how they've been, but they don't want to do that anymore. They want to be more productive and less busy and work on the right things and be there for people they love and care about. So if they're interested in just staying connected to me, they can get that Simple Strategies for Clutter Clearing You Can Do Now, and it'll say sign up for productivity tips.
Okay.
And I send out a monthly newsletter with productivity tips. I think you might get that.
No, maybe. Well, let's see. Yes, I think I do. I think I did do that.
The last one was called The Power of the Finish Line. And I talked about the Olympics and how the Olympians, and that applies to us as well. So I kind of have a focus for the month, and then some motivational quotes to keep people just kind of focused on the life they want to live. And that would be a great way for people to stay connected, would be to sign up for those productivity tips. And again, if they send me an email at sue@suecrum.com and say, yes, I want a success strategy call, I'll be happy to schedule that with them, and it's a free call to talk about their specific needs. Because I do coach people virtually on this, because everybody has stuff, and sometimes people have different reasons for needing to get rid of their stuff, or not get rid of it so much, but get it processed. Well, and if they get to their why, maybe they're moving, or they're moving in, or they're blending a household, whatever the why is, they don't want to leave it for their children to look at. Everybody's got a different why. They have to get to their why.
Okay, so this is my question now as you're talking. So you are called America's leading authority on clearing clutter. There are so many other people who talk about clutter. How did you get that important distinction?
I've been speaking on this topic and helping people declutter their life now for probably about 8 years. And as I was doing that, I've also been assisting on Jack Canfield's multi-day seminars that he does. Jack Canfield is the co-creator of Chicken Soup for the Soul series and the author of the Success Principles. So most people have heard of him. So in doing different things with him, as well as speaking to other groups, people say, well, you've got to write a book. You've got to write a book. So in putting, kind of what I talk about in my presentations in my book, because it has 50 short chapters, Jack started calling me America's leading authority on clearing clutter. Brian Tracy calling me that, James Malinchak, other people, and it just kind of has become my tagline, because everybody does end up with clutter at some point or another, whether it's their kids' clutter or their mental clutter. I'm working on a new ebook right now, Declutter Your Mind.
I'm just going to say mental clutter. Oh, yes.
Yes, because people have got to, they go hand in hand, but once you start clearing the physical clutter, your mind gets into a more relaxed Zen state, so you know what the priorities are. You're not looking at 17 squirrels and going, which one should I chase today?
That's good.
It's kind of like if you get the calm going, then you go, oh, this is the project I'm working on today.
Yes,
this is, and I talk about batch to the max, where you put like things with like.
Oh, so, wait. I love you're so good at this. Batch to the max.
Batch to the max, yes.
Right.
And I think I have a chapter in the book about that as well, because we keep switch tasking. It's not multitasking. We're switch tasking, and we're asking our brain to keep switching. Picture like a train. We're asking that train to keep going from this track over to that track and now back to this track. And yet, it's not too productive.
That's me.
It's not too productive.
That is me so much, especially what really does it? I was better at this until I got on the internet and I got on emails. I could be reading emails. I'm all organized, ready to do something. This one comes in. Oh, I better take care of that. Then the other thing's sitting there. Then another one comes in and they want that right away. Help me with that.
Assign some times when Anita's going to check email. And it doesn't have to have it open all day long. And let people who you work with know, I'm going to check email at 10:30, and I'm going to check it again at 1 o'clock, and then I'll maybe check it twice in the afternoon. But, unless the building is burning, I'm not checking email till 10:30, because I need to get some important things done first. What happens is we think we've got to check the email to see if the place burned down the night before, or where are the fires to put out, and then we end up chasing everybody else's problems. But we can empower other people to solve their own problems if we say, I'm going to check email 3 to 4 times a day. I'm not going to have it open all day long. 10:30, 1 o'clock, and maybe 3:30. And the rest of and then assign that, build your calendar around that. So that's when you're checking the email. But what happens is we've all become a slave to the email.
Yes.
And it's everybody else's problem or concern. It's everybody else's monkey. They're going, well, can you meet at this time? Or what about this? Or this deadline didn't come through. Or this article didn't come through and the person was supposed to do it. Well, empower others to solve their problems send the email that you're not going to look at it until after 10:30. And then just assign a little window of 10:30 to 11. I'll check the email. Then I'm moving back to what I was working on.
Okay, but now when you get on the emails, there's a lot more work for you to do. Where do you put that? In the back of everything else?
It's going to depend on what
How
that
critical
is.
it is, right?
And this is where people have just made it's this instant response expectation.
Yep.
They're expecting that Anita is doing nothing but waiting for their email to arrive so that she could solve their problem or get back to them.
Right.
And we've created this monster.
Yeah.
So we've got to let people know I'm not going to be looking at email 24/7. Here's when I'm going to look. And it's going to take a little bit of time. But, I mean, if you look at your email at 10:30 and there's 15 emails, 5 of them maybe have a priority over the other 10. So respond to those 5 and go then close it off and go back to what you were working on, which was maybe a bigger, more important project. And then at 1 o'clock, take a look and see which of those are the highest priority. We have to continually prioritize. It's not going for perfect. It's going for priority.
I guess that's true. You speak so well about all this, and it's like you're just peeking into all our houses and our rooms. And I'm just wondering, since you've been doing this for 8 years, was email as prevalent at that time? I can't remember.
It was, 18 years ago, no. But 8 years ago, yes. But I think what's different is the text messaging. So if you don't respond to the email in 6 minutes, a text message comes in to say, did you get the email?
Yes,
did
exactly.
You see my email?
Oh,
I haven't heard back from you, and it's been 4 minutes.
So what do you do
then?
So
it's the text messaging.
That's right.
That, again, is this interruption to our thought process. It's everybody, So I think it's really in training for people that are running a business such as yourself. It's really kind of having a really kind of productivity meeting with staff and find out from them. Maybe text messages and emails, coming from let's say you are inundating them. So it's kind of having an authentic conversation about how can we, some companies have actually gone to an email-free day where they've said, okay, nobody's sending any email on a particular day of the week. And if you've got an issue going on, you go find that employee, you call them on the telephone, you wait till another day to start blasting them because of people just getting saturated with responding to other people's, pen pal relationship.
And actually, you speak the truth because I get annoyed when people don't get right back to me. And that's not fair.
There you go.
No, you're right. So I get back to them, but then if they don't, or they, and then there's, you're absolutely right. Everything you're saying, I'm shaking my head. Yes, yes, yes. So you've been really helping us a lot. So I suggest that our listeners go to your free ebook called Simple Strategies for Clutter, Clearing You Can Do Now. Just get that. And then make sure that you actually get on her website, which is SueCrum.com, because I know you always have things on there. And also your book, of course, is a great book, The Simple Solutions for Clutter, for cleaning.
No, Clear Your Clutter is the book.
Clear Your Clutter. Oh, I'm sorry. But that's the other part of it, right?
Clear Your Clutter is the book, 50 Ways to Organize Your Life, Home, or Business.
Right, okay.
That's the one that's on Amazon. But your listeners might enjoy ClearYourClutterCoach.com. The SueCrum.com is really more on my speaking business, but maybe some of your listeners are looking for a motivational speaker on productivity and time management. So that is a website for them to look at. You can navigate between the two, but ClearYourClutterCoach.com would help some of your individuals get started on a less crowded life and more of what they want to do. And I'd be happy to give any of them a success strategy call if they just send me an email at Sue@SueCrum.com.
All right.
SueCrum.
So, yeah, CRUM. Yes, it's CRUM. I wanted to say that again. So the other thing is when you're speaking, what kind of groups are you speaking to? Are you just speaking to business groups, to women's groups, to men's groups? I mean, what's prevalent?
It's been a combination. I would say if I took a look at the audiences for the last 8 years, overall have been more female than male based. But that doesn't. I've spoken to Rotary groups that were more male, so that doesn't necessarily. I would say overall there've been more women who understand the importance of environment and reducing stress than men. Some of the groups have been like women's organizations, senior groups. I've spoken to. Jack had me on his stage this past earlier part of this year to 220 people at his Breakthrough to Success multi-day presentation that he gives 2 times a year, February and in the summer, and that was in Newport Beach in Southern California. So that had a mixed group of male and female. Some of those were people starting their own businesses, some were all self-employed already, and some were working in corporate America, and some were transitioning, trying to figure out their next step. So they had kind of a wide range of people. But I think that different folks are different chapters of their lives, so to speak. And so sometimes when we're transitioning from one chapter to another, like starting a business or starting a new career, that's when, or moving, that's when those stress levels go off the charts.
Well, I have to say, Sue, I love having you on. I'd love to have you again because I know people are listening to this, and I know I'm going to make a difference, definitely, but I'm sure our listeners are also. So I'm just going to remind them to go to clearyourcluttercoach.com if you want to really hear about some of this, or get the free book about the monthly tips to be energized and efficient. And that's the way that, let's see, you're going to go to the free book by Simple Strategies for Clutter Clearing you can do now. Thank you so much, Sue.
All right. And I hope they can check out the book on Amazon as well, Clear Your Clutter.
They will. It's a great book.
All right.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Anita.
All right. Bye.
All right. Happy day to you.
Yeah, thank you. You made it. Bye.